Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Definitely hear you. Just trying to plug this thing back in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you trying to be a highlighter over there.
Yeah, it's like this thing kind of like, hey, it says, you know what? Forget you, bruh. Forget you. Stop working. Stop working. So I'm gonna actually unplug and plug back in for a second. Yeah, I got it.
This is real live, like technical.
It's real lives, real mistakes. It's real life.
Real mistakes.
Okay. It's something that you said about your experience with your mom. How many kids? How many siblings did you have?
So total, my mom has 7. Before all of us, and then of course it's 6.
Okay, which one? I guess where do you fall in line? Like which one?
I'm the youngest one. She's like,
so you're the last one. You're the youngest one, so you got to see everybody, and then you went to school, and you're definitely running into different people with different, like, parents, different finances, different financial levels, and then you're trying to equate that with the life that you're living at home as well. Right. So how did you make it through with all of that stress? A lot of people kind of crumbled a long time ago. So how did you feel that you made it through? And what was the catalyst that allowed you to kind of stay, to the point where you became, a high school grad and eventually went to college? Like, how did you even make it through that adolescence? It's heavy, huh? It got really weird.
Yeah, it got heavy.
It got really weird. I didn't want to go that deep, man. But I'm like, hey, it went deep. My bad.
I knew from, I can't really point a reference. I just knew from a very young age, my life will be different. I didn't know how, and I wanted to be different because I didn't see a lot of success. And if I did see a lot of success, it wasn't in my community. A lot of people that I was exposed to didn't really grow or receive the development by not doing anything. They're doing so much within their life in terms of having purpose, right? Building a family, having a business, going off to college. And I seen those individuals and seen that I can do that. I can apply myself and develop myself into a person that I want. There was so much negativity. I'm from the hood. I'm from Belgrade. Like,
yeah, you from some other part of town, like, ain't Miami though. Ain't no Miami, but
it's not Miami. It's not Miami. There's 2 things that can happen. You get pregnant, you get stuck, or you don't measure up to nothing at all. There wasn't as endless options for people in my area, but I was just happy that, again, I was exposed to people as well as activities and individuals that were doing something with their lives. And I think looking back and just in retrospect, my mom did me and my sister a huge service of placing us in like free after school programs. And also her being so strict pushed me to not become whatever she thought I was going to become, because I was a real tomboy and I was, playing with boys, football, and how Haitian parents are. It's like, you a girl, stay in girls' place, stay in the kids' place. I was always pushing against that. So I think my will and my not being as, respectful to my parents I should have helped me in a way to be resistant. Innately, if I think about it, because the more she told me, stay in the girl's place, girls can't do this, you can't do this, always placed like this level that I couldn't surpass. And I always told myself, I will prove you wrong. And I did. Then I realized to myself that if I could prove her wrong, I can only imagine what I can really place my mind to in anything that I want to do. So resistance was never an issue for me because that's all I seen growing up, resistance. Life has not been the kindness to me nor my family. So being resistance helped me as much as, you know, I cried and, you know, label myself as a victim. I look at it as strength, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have measured up to anything that I did in life. So being poor, losing my father unexpectedly, my mom being, you know, the strictest, you know, playing in sports because honestly, we couldn't go home. There wasn't any guardian there. So we had to, you know, play activities. I think all those became this like huge factor in this development of who I am. As much as it wasn't that good, mm-hmm. It really shaped me into becoming who I am today. So I just knew that my life would be different and I wanted to be different. I didn't know how at that time, but I just knew that I would measure up to anything I pushed my mind to.
So it's kind of making a little bit more sense why you survived the whole being unemployed thing for a bit. So it's putting some context to it, you know, as part of the character, the person you are. I did want to ask a little bit, like, how did that, I know if there's 7 of you guys, even there's 6, you know, let's say at the max time, there'd be like 6 of y'all. How did that interplay with the rest of your siblings? The idea like you guys didn't have that much money and sometimes your mom went without actually eating, you know, to make sure that you guys were eating. How did that make you feel, or how did that make your siblings feel as well?
I think for their own development and how to kind of look at their perspective in life was, we just didn't have it. And you don't know what you have if you didn't have it, right? So it's not in the, I think for them, it wasn't in the mindset of poverty stricken, because when you look at poverty, it's like they were born, like 3 of my older brothers were born in Haiti, then they came to America, and 3 was born here, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not only a decade difference, but there's a culture difference. So the 3 older siblings that came to America, at that point, they was appreciative of everything. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, they were just happy. But I think over time with the Americanized culture, you know, the P. Diddy, the hip hop, and all those influences. Swag. Yeah. I think that kind of influence them made this impression that, hey, I'm in America. I can have these things if I work hard. I can be, you know, whoever I want to be if I apply myself. So I think they were in that mindset as well. And I think also that with the push, because my mom was so hard, my mom wasn't really loving me, right? Because my mom was so hard in raising young boys into men, they didn't have much choice but to be the most disciplined person that they can and try to thrive at that. Because when you go from Haiti not having much and your father is deceased and coming to America, I think they seen that as an opportunity to really grasp on every opportunity that you can. They played soccer. My brothers had all tons of trophies, you know, and my sister was close with me. So we did a lot of activities together. So it wasn't really like, if I'm in trouble, you're in trouble. It's almost like you don't want to get in trouble because of mom. It's that fear of death. You know,
she held the household.
She held the household. And over time, I look back at, because she was stricken, you know, tough love, she taught me life is not butterflies. It's not candy cone or getting
no
kissed.
Grandmother cooking, you know, cooking the cookies out here.
Right.
Feel good with them hugs.
It's not that. Things I seen on TV, I knew at a very young age wasn't real life, you know? And it took me to be exposed, unfortunately, so young at the stricken and difficult part of life to understand if I don't do better, there's no bounce back for me.
Yeah, there's no follow through. It's just game over. There's no safety
net. It's game over. I knew that at a very young age. Like, this is all we got. If you don't do better.
So you went to college. You decided to go to FAMU. You went out there. So I guess looking back when you were in college, how did that make you feel? Like you're in Tallahassee and you're looking back at Belle Glade and how you used to live. And now you start to see the disconnect, right? You start to see how other people are living their life. And now you're in that part of these other people living their lives a little bit better. How did that make you feel?
Low-key, I felt a little jealousy. And I felt like people was really unappreciative. Like having your parent drop you off to school. Like you have someone to call if you are in a bind. I had no one. My brother drove me to Tallahassee. I rent a car. He didn't rent it. And placed all my items there. He said, "Oh, you good? Peace." And that was it.
Hit you with hey, I'll see you. I'll see you.
I'll see you. But people didn't know I actually transferred to FAMU my sophomore year. So the freshman year, I was at a school in FGCU in Fort Myers. So I wasn't living on campus. I was living off campus in an apartment with 4 other roommates. And from there on, I was learning like all the stricken skills, everything that my mom taught me immediately was being applied. Get a job, pay your utilities, pay your rent, all the good stuff. I actually had to teach my roommate how to wash her laundry.
Hey, I seen that too. I knew guys that didn't know how to make their own bed. It tripped me out. I'm like, so seriously, you don't like you belong in a world, a universe where you didn't have to make your own bed, like for the entirety of your life. Like it's nuts. And you're like 20 now, right? You're like, yeah, you never made your own bed. Trippy.
Oh, but before FAMU and when I attend FGCU, so this is Florida Gulf Coast in Fort Myers. So this is over a decade ago. So FGCU was predominantly white, of course, but they were new. There was new university less than 20 years, I think, at that time. And that's when I really seen the distinction and the divide between classism and economic status and all sorts of things. Bruno, stop.
Hey, you guys want to say that Bruno is a cat? Because everybody makes you look like you're crazy right now.
Sorry, my cat.
Like, you're out here talking to yourself, you know what I'm saying? Hey, all that trauma finally got to you. She's like, Bruno, stop. Like, who's Bruno?
My cat. I was trying to ignore it, but now he just keep.
You can't ignore it. Sometimes you gotta be like, hey, the cat exists. So you look kind of crazy for a second.
But
you went through this entire experience of just basically growing up, in dire straits, pushing through high school, getting to college. And I know you decided after college, what did you end up doing after college? Didn't you decide to kind of travel a little bit, hanging out with your friends?
Yeah, so 6 to 7 months after graduating FAMU, I actually pivot and decided like, hey, I want to travel the world. So I got an appointment in South Korea as a guest English teacher. So I was there for almost 2 years teaching English.
Cool. So how was that experience? I know it had to have opened you up. I remember when I met you in Tallahassee, I remember the person you were. And I actually did see your transition from point A to point B. As being overseas, coming back, there is a transition that happened. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I went there, mind open, and I was ready to explore to learn new cultures.
You're trying to make that money, you know, that money, travel around, look cool.
That Korean won. I was a nomad before it became popular. Mm-hmm. I think the transformation happened again, being exposed to not only a new culture, the Asian culture, Korean culture, but more people, young people that looks like me, they were doing the same things. And even other people with different experiences and cultures, the amount of exposure and people that had met within that 2 years just fueled my development. Not only military people that I met teachers, I met diplomats and businessmen. The entire experience just taught me how significant one thing you can do in your life can change the trajectory of where you want to be. And that, what I can say, aside from going to college, traveling and living in Korea was the best decision I could have ever done in my life. And friendships I had made, I still have those friendships, and people that I care for dearly, they care for me, they support me. The amount of appreciation that I have for the Korean culture, because they taught me, well, they retaught me the significance of family, valuing family, building communities, but also sustaining those people in those communities. They fight and they strive for the betterment of their children, the next generation, and so forth. And I didn't see that as much growing up, of course, because my mom was constantly in this survival mode, right? But I seen this in Korean culture. Not only did they live and work hard, but they place the discipline and the love to their children constantly. Like sending them off to a lot of them went to Australia to teach, learn English, all sorts of things. But they truly invest in their families. Once Korean families, new families get married, the wife is obligated, make sure everything is locked. But she learned those skills of how to sustain that community for the next generation by the mother of her husband. So her mother-in-law now. So they truly value family. And I'm seeing this on the regular basis, like hiking together. Volleyball was like a huge sport there, like volleyball together, playing sports, really investing, like taking 4 to 5 jobs just to make sure that their children education was top level, that they understand English, they can pass tests. The investments and sacrifices I have seen was at a level I never seen in the States.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to really harp on, the idea of the sacrifice, because that is generational wealth. Because I think I've quoted that before. I think a lot of people like, I want to build generational wealth. Really, they just want to build money for themselves. They just want to have the money to kind of roll and flex on people, whatever it is. But when you say you want to build generational wealth, that is the definition of sacrifice. Mm-hmm. That means you can go without, because you want to make sure that somebody else and the young kids are having a great experience. You're feeding them and you're really growing them to the next tree that's going to carry on the family legacy. That is generational wealth. That is a job. That is a one-to-one, right, day-to-day, all day, every day type of scenario. And that's what you learn from that area. Did you travel to any other countries besides Korea?
Oh, yeah.
Or South Korea?
Yeah, so I went to Thailand, Bali, Indonesia, the Philippines. I also went to Dubai, and I was in London.
So you saw a lot of different people. And I think that's the kind of exposure we don't really get, especially when you live in the US. A lot of people are born and raised in the county of Dade. Like, that's what you hear all the time. Or wherever you're from, this is where you're going to be for the majority of your life. But you actually went beyond that, and you took an opportunity that really stretched you beyond what you even knew about. and to learn from different cultures, to incorporate what they were doing, and to really come back with something new. So what did you come back with? I guess that's the biggest thing, coming back now. Like, what did you decide at that point you're gonna remember for the rest of your life so you can implement it for yourself?
Aside from the appreciation of Korean culture, I think I took back from that experience, well, for me, it fueled my confidence, the self-confidence in me. The process was so hard to get to Korea because the visas, the interviews, it was hard. So once I got there, I knew it was for me and the experience was for me. So it really built my self-confidence. This is the girl from Belgrade, you know, a widowed mother of no father in the house, graduated college, and you could go from Florida to the other side of the world. You know, no one was doing that in my circle. And to come back, I felt like I could do anything. There was, I didn't see limitations anymore. When people talk to me, I was at that time, I used to always say, that's first world problems. That's not real problems.
You really seeing real people with real, like, you know, when I hear like what's going on in Texas and like rolling blackouts, I'm like, I kind of been there, bro. I the cold part, but I know about rolling blackouts. So like, I did that for 9 years. So like, I had complained for 2 days. So like 9 years.
Right. This is a person that lost her passport. This is a person that was sleeping on the floor with strangers because I lost my wallet. I had to figure it out at a different country.
Especially in another country, another language.
You don't speak the language. You don't speak the language at all. I'm dialing, like I had to learn Hangul pretty fast because I had to read stuff, right? Yeah. It put the self-confidence in me to know that I am capable. And if I can't do it, I need to give myself a little bit more time to do it. It's not, I'm not able. I'm not applying myself as much as I can because I've done it.
Yeah, that's the human experience. That's the
human experience.
When you're pushed to that corner, I think some people, when they're pushed to the corner, they're like, I don't like the corner. It makes you feel uncomfortable. I don't like it. I was stuck somewhere in, I guess in Brazil around this, like my card I needed cash to go from point A to point B. Like I needed to catch a train, get to a bus station, sleep overnight to get all the way back to Rio. I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do in my bank account. My bank kind of like declined it, right? And all in Portuguese. I had to figure it out. Like I literally sat there and trying to think, and then I saw like. Then by the time I got back to to do everything, I literally started to read Portuguese because I had to.
I was
forced to do it.
You had to.
Forced to, and you're back into a corner. The human is an interesting beast because you are forced to change. And you're forced to evolve, to create, to, like you said, become a lot more confident and come back a different person. So now you came back. And I saw that a little bit of transition, like you became almost like a minimalist at some point. Would you say that?
I wasn't hoarding a lot of stuff. Like,
you're like cutting stuff out. You're like, you need this. And I think at one point you did started downgrading your house. You was renting someplace and you downgraded the rental. Like, tell us about that. Why did you downgrade? And what was the benefits of doing that?
So when I got back, I did, traveling some places, visiting all my friends that I met, sustain those relationships, and I'm happy I did that.
Balling,
for the gram. You gotta do it one time.
You gotta do it for the gram.
You gotta do it.
You do it for the gram. I'm not quite sure why you live it.
Right. If it wasn't a photo, you didn't do it.
Exactly.
But so I decided to get a new apartment because I got a new job. So my job was remote, and it consists of me traveling a lot. So if I wasn't in West Palm, I'm in Boynton, I'm in Miami, I'm in Port St. I was surrounded in just counties, just traveling. And I did do a lot of research, unfortunately. So I was just trying to find a place because I'm about to start my job. But this condo was a beautiful place in Boynton. But I wish I would have took a photo, but you go into my place, it was one couch. It was a mounted
TV photo there. From Target or something.
No, a mounted TV,
Walmart.
A glass table when you walk into the dining room. A glass table, I honestly ate there less than 5 times. A beautiful kitchen. I rarely cook because I'm never home. and this decked out bathroom with this old, mini spa, tub thing they had, whatever. And it was just so nice, but I didn't really have that much stuff. And I couldn't decorate it as I want because I was always on the go. And by the time I get home, I'm tired.
Yeah, like the biggest cost a lot of people have to deal with housing. Basically it's all this housing, and then you have to go work to actually pay off the housing that you're in. And that's a lot of hours, and you can't really enjoy the house that you're in. Yeah, it looks nice. Right. You didn't even have photos of the place that looked nice. Like messed up.
I didn't even have, I think the square footage was because like 1,300, 12 to 1,300 or something. And it's only me.
Yeah, but how much were you paying for it though? How much were you paying?
Like $1,250.
You gotta give people the real numbers, man.
Yeah, like $1,250 a month.
$1,250. So you downgraded. How much you started paying when you downgraded?
Want to guess?
I want to say, cause I don't know. The down south is weird. I'm gonna say $750.
Oh, you close? A little bit close.
Ballerific still. It's all good. It's all good.
I actually, when I downgraded to a smaller place, much smaller place, I downgraded. I was paying 911, 901, 910 or something like that.
Did I include everything, or it just sounded like the place?
No, that was the rent that includes the water usage as well as the Wi-Fi. So I caught a deal. The girl that was living there, she actually took someone else sublease. So she was grandfathered in, right? Something happened and with her job, so she ended up getting another job out of state. So she was only there for a month within her sublease contract. So I found her on Craigslist and I immediately jumped on it. So I was approved for her lease and I was grandfathered in the same price she was paying. So I went from paying $1,250 for rent to low cost of like $910, $911 a month. So I was able to save a lot of money. Though?
Like when you ball out with the extra cash, what's up?
No, no. No, I did not. What I did was when I started really focusing on what my money was going to, so I was able to target my housing since that was the chunk of my money was going. I just took the extra funds and started increasing my investments. I was accident prone at the time. If I didn't hurt my knee, I got a bush rash. It was something I'm always going to the doctor for. I was just so accident prone. And I was realized how important to have money in the HSA, especially being a woman. Because I was sick like multiple times, always inside and out. I'm just like, okay, this is really is going to help me. I'm going to continue investing. So I took a lot of my money investing and start putting savings away.
Okay, because a lot of people probably, whoever's going to listen to this, half the time they don't know what an HSA is. So can you tell us what a HSA is, by any chance?
Sure. So HSA is a medical savings account. So basically, if you have a high deductible health insurance with your employer, most employers have an HSA sponsor plan. So what you do is through your employer, you start putting money to the side to this account for medical expenses. But most times it helps you save your deductibles. So if your deductible is $2,000 or $3,000 and you're putting money monthly into your HSA, you're able to cover that deductible. And for me, it helped me that year because I twisted my ankle like twice.
What the heck?
So I met my deductible.
No more. You straight up got me. This time playing ball.
I have no mega salary.
Playing ball. Like,
I was so accident prone that year. I'm just like, you know what? Let me stop playing. So that really helped me out throughout the years.
One of you muted your volume. That will eliminate the feedback. There's feedback?
There's echo?
It could be on here. It's probably on me though. Let me see if I could kind of stop this feed and log back in. No, stop this feed. This is like, but continue. So you basically went down and you now you downgrade. What else did you do to increase? Cause I know at one point you wrote about it, like you increased your finances by a significant amount, and then you ended up on like CNBC or something. Or who did you end up on? NBC.
MCNBC. Yeah.
MSNBC.
MSNBC. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, I don't know about this.
It was just, aside from the HSA, I think I start focusing on where my money is going, really utilizing Mint, utilizing things that I can track my expenses. Even today, I'm not I haven't perfect the budget, but I acknowledge where my money is going. I know exactly where the funds are going. So when you are aware where your money is being spent the most, you start to realize that, like, hey, I got a real problem. And for me, it wasn't I didn't make enough. I was just spending too much. And I just knew if I wanted to create the life that I want, it's certain sacrifices that I had to take on to do those things. There's a sound. There's a sound. I can hear you good. It's all good. They can't hear you. Facebook can't hear you.
Here.
Me or Lawrence?
Oh, it's probably me. Because this thing kind of fell apart, and ever since then, I've been trying to fix it on the side while we're still talking. It's actually me. So, like I said, continue talking.
So, taking on those, just making those sacrifices that I need to do. I don't hear a lag anymore. I hope you guys can hear us. I don't hear an echo or lag anymore. But like I was saying, taking on, okay, great. Thanks, Lily. Taking on those sacrifices, I knew that it is, for me, it's really was about discipline and to try to tackle on the things that was holding me back. And it was mainly just spending over my means. I never had an income problem, even at the lowest of, making 41,000 up to 45. It was never an income problem. There seems to be an issue with just spending so much money that I didn't have the same amount coming in. And also when I realized that my mom raising all of us under one income, it made me see that becoming a person that I really want to become is to value the things that I already have. I can't keep saying that I need more, where my mom, successfully raised all her children with less. So
that's something I learned too. I learned that it tripped me out. Like my grandmother had like 7 kids, but we all lived under the same roof, and we always had enough money, to at least enough food to eat. Yeah. And that tripped me out because it's like we're now at this adult facts. Like we're older, we're all 30 plus or whatever, and now we're looking around like we don't have the money. Like how you don't have the money, like, and you're supporting just you. Right. You have a problem with whatever you're spending on. If it's like 5 Netflix accounts, multiple new iPhones, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Cinemax, all these extra things that you barely have time to use. Like that house, like you said, you had a big home that you barely had time to use.
Barely. And now looking back, I could have had a lot of parties and gatherings. Like, I was just tired. I'm just like, yeah, I just want to stay home. Or majority of the time, I met my brothers. I live close to my older brother. I'm over there eating his food. So I'm just, he like, you're never home.
Like, how you broke? How you broke? I don't know, man. I'm just eating your food right now.
You know, when you got family around, just go eat over there. Everyone's cooking, eating, you know. And again, I enjoy that community. I enjoy us spending time together, actually seeing my nieces and nephew grow up, seeing their own development. So the house wasn't like this huge concern for me. I didn't really care so much. It was just what I'm allowing in my space, you know. That what I really cared about, because looking back, I was rarely home, but what I was doing, I was with friends, I was sustaining friendships, or I was doing things that I love to do, being with my family, being with friends, traveling if I had time to, like doing the things I care about. So it just made me realize it's not a home, it's what I do. And also where I lay and what am I placing in my space to help me grow, to help me develop and be the woman that I always wanted to be.
So you went on to be this woman that you always wanted to be. You got your first home. I know, yeah, you're growing. You're making changes, and then ultimately,
shout out to Bruno right now. You see this guy?
Yeah. He came in getting the shot. Like he's like, man, get me in a good light real quick. Good light.
You see this guy?
I see him now, just vibing. He's just vibing with the crew.
Bruno, man, I'm telling you.
He's just trying to vibe. Like, he'll try to scoot.
He will never let me have my own shine. He was like, I'm here. What's up?
Like, what you
always, doing? No matter what
I'm doing.
He's here.
All right. So you decided now okay, 2020 hit, you get a cat. And then in 2020, while everybody is trying to struggle, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go get a home. So you got your first home. You're getting all the lights up. Everything's going good. And then you get fired. So now you're fired. How do you even get away from that? Like, how did you feel right after you got fired? Did you want to cry? Did you cry?
No. No, I'm a thug. No, I didn't cry. I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised. Because at that point, either I was going to leave or they're going to let me go. It was one or the other. But I was surprised simply because I didn't know it was going to happen a month after I got my mortgage. You know, I didn't know it was going to happen that quickly, but I wasn't surprised. I feel like after the initial shock kind of wore out and the call was over, and I kind of sat and just literally just stared at my computer, and I'm like, you know what? Okay. I was in this room. And I told myself, okay. And I told myself, I'm going to be okay. I will be all right. And when I said that, like the sense of relief just came. Because I was so unhappy. Like we had a phone call in the past about it. I was so unhappy in this environment. And it was a sense of relief. And I was just like thinking that this is a good thing. I don't know why yet, but I know this is a good thing. And I was just sitting here just talking to myself. I'm like, this is a good thing. And once I just really started just like taking breath and just sitting there and concentrating on that feeling, because I did feel like a failure. I'm like, you go from, I paid off my student loan last year, one of the student loans, paying off your student loans. Girl, you got your master. Girl,
you got your masters. You got a man. You got a house. You got everything. You like, nah. Everybody stunting on them.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got a cat too. A white cat at that. Like you popping. You know what I'm saying? I go from that to this, staring at my computer. It was blank screen. I had like two of those big monitors, right? A blank screen, staring at my computer. And thinking like, I have no job. I have no income.
Wait, did they come through and try to like? Did they boot you out the network like so you can't even be online or something?
I'm not even sure. I made sure to download my pay stubs.
like some code stuff. Like he's like, hey, effective immediately. Cut her out, dog. Cut her out the system. Cut her out. Like done. She ain't here no more.
Probably like close to noon. I think so. I'm not even sure if I went back to check, but I had my own computer anyway, so it wasn't really much a big deal. I always have my own. I had my own computer. So it was just initial shock, right? But I can't even reference to why I felt the way that I felt, but I just knew, LG, like I knew I'm gonna be okay. Like there's so many things that happened to me. Like this is like
big significant. Like this is not being stuck without a passport in Korea though.
Exactly.
Like it's not bad, stuck. But it's not Korea bad.
Right. And I think and again, going back from those experiences and the things that I have been through and the exposure, it creates this sense of resilience almost. Because I was resilient as a child to my mom, because I was resilient, to others that I can't not do this, because I was resilient pushing through, becoming the first person in my circle to live in a different country, like resilient. Now, we have the term as grit, right? Mm-hmm. So because I was that person and I kept pushing through, and I'm just like, I've been through that. I've been through that and worse. How can I not get through this?
How can your story resonate with other people? And I'm pretty sure there's some people right now on here and they're probably nodding their heads secretly in the background. They're not saying much, but they might be going through their own, valleys per se. What would you tell, I guess, in your hardest time, when, like the times where it's really tough on you, what can you go back and tell yourself? And people in those shoes right now that's feeling that twinge, feeling like they're a failure, feeling like they've made mistakes, like what would you tell them?
First, forgive yourself. Definitely forgive yourself. And again, at that moment, staring at a computer, sitting in this exact office, right, exact room, sitting here, I had to. Because the feeling of failure, the anxiety, the emotions all in your head will literally kill you. It will. It feels like someone choking you and you can't even like pull them off. Like, it's an invisible, hand just choking you. You can't pull them off. And when you forgive yourself, you give yourself grace. And grace is so powerful because you have room to make mistakes. But it's within those mistakes, either you're going to stay there or you're going to push through and really be in that feeling to say, okay, now what's next? Now what to do? And I want people to forgive themselves and to allow those feelings to come out. Because I had to sit here. It took me like a week to tell you guys, I had to sit here and sit in those emotions for a minute to kind of recalibrate my mind, recalibrate my thinking a bit. Because I felt like I couldn't do anything else. Like I placed so much of my success in this job, or this job held me to, this position. I got, I held that level of success with this. I'm like, why did I think like that? Why did I place that much power into what I was doing and how I was doing these, like making these moves? Whereas that the job didn't do it. I did, and it went back to my self-confidence. Like they didn't do anything for me, but give me a position or allow me to build my skill set or give me more room to be more resilient because I knew the environment wasn't for me. Right. And going back to the self-confidence. So like, I did this, it didn't work out. This is what I can do. This is the plan I can make for myself. But you have to forgive yourself because you don't want to stay in the feeling for too long because you feel paralyzed. And I can tell you that from experience. You feel paralyzed where you're in your head for too long and being sad and being feeling like a failure, you won't make any moves because it becomes like this depressive state. And I had to get out of that state. I'm just like, Atlanta, you're bigger than this. Like this is not you. And again, I allow myself to feel this way because I'm human. I can't not like force me not to feel. Like I have to feel. But I understand now at my age, well, my vulnerability is my strength. So if I allow myself to feel the way that I feel and why I'm feeling this way, it gives me more room to have grace. And when I have grace, I recalibrate into understanding that I have the self-confidence to push through. And that's what really kind of brought me back, like, okay, let's go.
So we got it. We got it. First, you got to forgive yourself. You got to allow yourself to make those errors, and also to understand. And it's basically what you're trying to say is the fact that some doors will close on you. They will close, but doesn't mean that it's the last door you walk into.
Exactly.
You know, that some doors are just closed. It just doesn't mean that it's the worst part of you. It's not. Maybe it wasn't even meant for you. But now, beyond that moment, you decided to, press forward, and you got a different job, and you're making more money.
Making more money. I still can't wrap my head around that.
Making more money. And how long did it take for you to get from the unemployed to employed again?
So I got laid off December the 14th. And I start the new position February the 8th.
Okay. So like 2 months.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. And again, it was me recalibrating my mind to going back to the self-confidence that I have. My boyfriend is a great support. I'm always dishing, my emotions and everything I'm thinking out to him. But it was me just keep telling myself and knowing God would not let me in this position. He brought me too far. I brought myself too far.
Like one time for the boyfriends. One time for the boyfriends.
One time.
Like the men in the corner, like we heard all the BS in the corner. We finally get some shine. But I'm not the boyfriend. I'm talking about her boyfriend somewhere. One time for him. Like
my boyfriend.
They don't get enough shine. So thank you for giving him some hotline. Like right now, he probably still like, check that.
Yeah, but exactly. But doing that and having that support system and knowing that, spiritually, God is not going to allow me to stay in this position for long. And I can't reference this, LG. I just really can't. I wish I could articulate into words, but I just knew I was going to be okay. I just knew I was going to be okay. I had friends to help me my resume. You gave me an opportunity, to do something, at your temporary,
I was like, hey, you could go out there, hey, rent out your spot, go out there if you need to, because we're not there. Me and my wife at the time, we were checking out the rental unit.
Right.
And it was being renovated, but I'm like, you could go over there for a bit and do whatever you need to do over there. Like, it's fine.
So again, going back to the relationships and the community that I have curated and built and placed and nurture was helping me. My friend with my resume, you other opportunity, lovely, give me my boyfriend with support system, like everyone was fueling me. And I'm like, with all this?
Oh, it's funny you say community, because that's what we're trying to build and trying to show other people. Because as you fix yourself, as these things, it's almost like as you heal yourself, as you fix your money, as you fix yourself spiritually, physically, and just really all around, you're becoming a better version of yourself. The more when other people are hurting around you, you could actually also help them. Like if I didn't have myself all together, or we didn't have our own finances together, like I couldn't be able to say, hey, you could just go stay at the rental property in Tallahassee. Right. I wouldn't be able to. And I think that's the genius of having a true community around you, because it's not just, in those moments when we all don't have everything. We're all not super rich, not yet. But the idea is that we're all in a position where we could help each other because we're actually trying. And that's what we're trying to build with the Wealth Builders on the Facebook group. And that's why we're trying to pull together people that really want to work, like people that want to work with each other and people that want to foster that spirit of being a champion, not necessarily nurturing that spirit of being a victim.
Right.
Like it's easy. Like you said, it chokes you and it's easily could grip you to become almost steady in your victimhood. Like you will protect it, you will fight for it because that's the title that you have earned for some reason. But beyond that, you have to change. You got to become a champion. You got to change the way you think about the problem. So you could have easily sat there after you got fired and you was like, you blamed everybody else. You blamed them, you blamed the world, you blamed the whatever. And you could have sunk into a space where you could, you know, take you longer to get out of.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to all fight nowadays, is the idea that we can all move forward. So you moved from your that bigger space to downgraded space, paid off your student loans, you know, increase your savings, your investments, push to that point where you know, now you have a DTI that's actually pretty decent. You get your first home and you even bounce back quick to get the job back again, and you're back at it again.
Back at it.
You know, like pushing forward. And I guess what's your goal for 2020, or I guess what's your goal in life? What are you trying to do?
Aside from retire in my early 50s, because I'm still gonna be fabulous. Aside from that, I want to make the sacrifice, but still live, you know, my best life as I can. But I want to continue a generation after me and thriving, and knowing that not only do you have people in your life and communities that will help you, you have a model, an actual model of what can be done. And there is something special in that as well, because we're making sacrifices that we need now, because it's not going to end with me, you know. It's going to continue to go and to grow and to prosper with all my family, and I consider my friends my family, right? I want everyone to thrive as much as they can, and to not place limitations. You don't have to necessarily go to Korea or do these things, but the model that you place for yourself now, especially at a young age or whatever stage that you are, to build the wealth multipliers that you're capable of. You're not incapable. You just didn't see a model of people that has been doing it. I want to be that model. The exposure is there. Are you willing to apply of what others have done and sacrifice so you can be where you want to be in your life? That is my goal.
It was somewhere in between. I was like, man, I'm trying to get deeper out here, trying to get profound. It was like, it's not gonna end with me. Like, like,
you like that?
Do it. Like that? It's gonna end with me. You know, it's like, I need to go do something with my life, like right now. Go do the dishes. That's the first thing I gotta do. It's not gonna end tonight with the dishes. And the dishes, like, that's not today. Not today.
Not today. And that's what the grit and the resilience and things has taught me. And I want my children, I want my nieces and nephews, I want my friends to thrive. Like, this is, of course, Bruno, this is.
He's like, hey, I'm still here, just to let y'all know.
He's still here. But I want people to thrive as much as possible. And it starts with the mindset. It starts with having the power and the understanding that you can do it. You can do the things and place the position that you want to be. Are you up for the challenge? Mm-hmm. This is what we're building, and this is what we're doing. We have done it. We're still doing it. So the model and example is there. Is at your armories. It's a call away. It's a message away.
I let people know that life is the challenge, and that's really what it is. It comes down to life being the challenge that you have to undertake. We got some people saying it's powerful. This is awesome. And honestly, like, if you got questions for Miss Alcin out here, you know, like, if you have questions for her, how she was able to really build from a negative net worth to over, like, what you sitting at now? Like a good 40, 50,000, whatnot? Just chilling like a boss. She's like, I ain't telling people my real money. That's when people get money. Like, they get different. They're like, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about things. I want people trying to rob me. Hey, where you live? I don't live around here.
you know, and it's a powerful thing, but it's you're capable.
That's truly humbling. That's truly humbling, though. The idea that you could hit what people would consider rock bottom and still believe that you are capable. It's not the job that adds value to you. It's not what you're doing. It's you. And I think a lot of us don't know. It's just always been us. Like, it's always been you. You're sent here on earth for whatever reason per se, but you've always been the catalyst. You're the focal point of your own story.
Yeah. And want people to understand that the likes and the acknowledgement, they come and go.
Oh yeah.
They come and go. You know, the posts of success, they come and go. But you stay here in this position. You are in these predicaments, in these situations. So you have to build those skill set, and not only in what you do, but also mentally, and shifting your mind into knowing that temporarily I'm in this position. What can I do next? How can I find solutions for myself? Because again, I wanted to stay in that feeling after a week. I wanted to be there, but after a while, I had to tell myself, what's next? I'm not going to stay in that position of just blaming others or doing things that, not taking self accountability. I want to really be the person and to understand that if I do not place myself in these positions to really thrive and tell people my wins and my losses, how can I be a model to anyone?
Yeah, because nobody knows what it takes to lose. Like, that's the big thing. You have to know what it takes to lose. You have to know how it feels. You have to know how it feels, because it feels bad. It feels terrible, but a lot of people hide that now.
Yeah, and I don't want to hide. And again, I tell people my vulnerability is my strength. Like me telling people, I bought a house, I was laid off a month later,
like in your face. Like, the lights were up for the house, but when you say you got laid off, it's like crickets. Where's the lights? Like,
because it's a feeling of shame, and I blame the culture we're in to only want likes, to only want to feel relatable in a way that people feel envious of you. Now when people really feel your experience, people want to feel as far apart as the experience, but more in relatability, that my pictures are better than you, I'm accomplished things better than you, but I want to show people that in this journey you will lose. There's no trekking it. You will lose at some point, but the growth and development that you have during this journey will help you to push through and win, continue winning. So that's the community that I have built, and I'm going to continue expanding my community for wealth builders as well.
And that's a community that you learn from Southeast Asia out there.
Southeast Asia.
The little things, the little things that you learn from just random people that you meet, and it's just about the idea that it's a tough life that we live. There are losses, there are struggles, but you could still push through.
Yeah,
and you can still build communities every day. I don't have much else. I ain't coming with a list of questions. I was just having a conversation with my homegirl out here, talk about her money story. I know we got a lot of different people that was tuning in. They heard it. They heard the messages. They heard the conversation. And I hope that, at least from my end, before we all tune out and end all of this, that you have these conversations with your friends, about who they really are, the struggles they really go through, the things that aren't so like, let's post to IG friendly, the truth. Yeah. And I live in that truth. I think that's the most important space you can ever be in. It's honest. You could get somewhere with that. But the filters, the posts for the likes, I'm not there anymore. I guess that's for me. I'm not there anymore. Yeah. I want to be in the other space where people are winning, truly not winning in a financial sense, but winning in a life sense. They're just happy.
Life sense, yeah.
So that's my takeaway from this conversation with you. I like the fact I need to go to South Korea, Southeast Asia. It's a South Korea. Go check out whatever that was all about, because I need to cook a little bit of that sauce. So what would you say to the audience?
I will say to the audience, Again, we're just reiterating, the model is there for you. The relatability is not necessarily on the likes. Like, we are actually thriving in our lives, personally, professionally, and so forth, shifting mindsets. We created a community that not only you will be a part of, but you will actually have this self-confidence, create your own communities that you will be happy for generations to come. And I want people to understand that small setbacks, it's a long, successful comeback. Just know that with everything that you push through for. But this is what we do. This is what we constantly talk about. And it's not just for IG. It's not just for the social media realm. Like, we really have these tough conversations, you know? We have people that are keeping us accountable constantly. And if you don't see those type of people, you're not exposed, we are here. Click away, message away, phone call away. Be a part of the community. This is a community that is shifting mindsets, but also thriving in life. It's more than money, because money can be taken away easily, you know? Easily. I'm an example
with a phone call.
Money can be taken away easily by, if you take anything from his life and from my story, understand is that this is part of the sacrifice of what building real generation wealth comes from. And I'm willing to continue making the sacrifice. I need to continue because, like I said before, it won't end with me. If I continue doing the things that I need to do and building my community and the friends and family around me, then generations to come, we will see the legacy of having these things that we're proud of. And that's what
she kind of cut out for a little
leave
bit.
that to you guys.
On the IG, she cut out on the IG. It's all good. It's all good. Could you? Yeah, we could definitely hear you now. I guess somebody tried to call you or something.
No, it's my battery is going dead.
Okay, cool. Well, you know, it sounded good from a girl from Belgrade. Belgrade's number 7.
Belgrade.
Belgrade. Belgrade's the same place. Like, nobody knows where it is. Like, it's in Florida somewhere. Like, if it ain't Miami, it ain't County of Dade. I don't know what it is.
Ain't County of Dade. Dade is its own state. Dade is not a part of it.
Dade, we be looking at everybody else like, it ain't County of Dade. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
No, you guys are different.
We know cities. There's Orlando, there's Tampa, there's Tallahassee, there's Gainesville, there's maybe Jacksonville. After that, every place else is just like blah. It's Florida.
No one doesn't know much of Florida, to be honest.
Yeah, Florida.
We don't know much of the history of Florida. We're just like, these main states. You're not there. You don't matter.
I want to say I actually went to Belgrade once.
Okay, so we're the towns in Lake Okeechobee, which is the biggest lake in Florida. Like, we're the surrounding.
There's a big lake in Florida. like
Lake Okeechobee. So we're those surrounding little towns around Okeechobee. So if you're not in the area, you may not know.
Mind blown. Like, I'm like, we got a lake.
We're gonna cut that part off.
No, he ain't gonna cut it off. Like, it's a true Miami people be like, we got a lake now? Like, when we get that one. We added one of those in Florida? Like, it's one in the middle. Like, in the middle? Like, we cut through. Like, we take the turnpike, I-75, turnpike, I-75, I-95. Which one is it? Like,
you don't know anything aside from south and north. Like, that's all they know. Look at Bruno, just chilling.
Mm-hmm. Look, yeah, Bruno out here like getting the vibes, man. Look at this guy, like he's catching he's getting deep meditation right now. Yeah, they can't even see it on my IG live. Like, you gotta turn that thing all on him.
Yeah, I gotta turn it.
This cat is just like chilling, pun intended.
Always.
But that's all I had, Lovely. I know Lovely in the background chilling. That's all we got for the people. I appreciate anybody that actually was on this live. I hope that she actually saves this live on her once she gets the option, so people can go back to it. She's like, who? What? Yeah. And I'll try to fix my electronics. I think it was one too many electronics to one small USB. I was that USB just cut itself off and said, peace.
Yeah, I need to save this live, so I have to, once I get off, is the option to save?
Yeah, there's gonna be an option to save.
Yes. by Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys actually find some form of inspiration.
Oh, actually, no.
We're just so inspiration. We're figuring it out.
I know. Like some people like, you guys not professional. Like, yo, like, can we not just be human beings? Can we just be human beings? Can we just have a good time? You know, we talk about money and all, but I just like to laugh. I laugh about the little things too. I might go do the dishes for real. I told my wife I'm gonna do the dishes. Oh, real man does the dishes, all right?
Boyfriend already did it.
Oh, there it is. Stepping up the game. Okay. I see what he got there. I see what he's doing. No, she was about to go do the dishes earlier. I was just like, I have the dishes. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what you're gonna go do.
Yeah, he's being great. He's great. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm about to wrap this up.
The New Money Podcast began watching this live. New Money Podcast. He's out there in Canada. I actually learned a lot from him about the way retirement system works.
Retirement system works.
Yeah, like they have